Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest Manchester United news as Manchester United are presented with a shock loan offer from Saudi Arabia for Jadon Sancho. The plot thickens, or is it an escape route that serves all parties? Let's tell you where it's coming in from first. It's coming in from CBS, which is an American outlet, and they're saying that Al Ettifaq set to make dramatic late loan move for Jadon Sancho. Steven Gerrard's side would be prepared to offer a buy option too, but given the limited time, a standard loan may be the only possibility. Sancho's view on interest remains unknown. This is and would be... well, look, if I'm being completely honest, there was mention of this yesterday. It's not completely out of the blue. And I'd say I'm 99% sure that a Saudi Arabian club would take Jadon Sancho on loan or on a permanent deal. So I think, first of all, yeah, I don't think it's inaccurate. I mean, they've bought some right shit. They've bought some good players as well, but they have bought worse players than Jadon Sancho. So he would fit the profile 100% of what the Saudi League would want. So anybody who thinks, oh, that's just silly, it's speculation. No, 99% I said. Yeah, I know that he fits the profile. They want to buy more players who are in their mid-20s, young 20s, late 20s, not just people who are coming towards the end of their career. So Jadon Sancho would be a massive lure for the Saudi Arabian League. They will be in for him. I think the interesting thing here is, and UK Paul says it beats being at United. That's the question. Does it beat being at Manchester United for Jadon Sancho? The situation from Manchester United, and I was told this a couple of hours ago, is that they still remain very frustrated and very let down by Jadon Sancho in relation to the post he put out and the fact that it's still there on Thursday, 4 days after he put it. It demonstrates indiscipline. It demonstrates disrespect. And, you know, one person even said, if he'd taken it down, at least it shows a willingness to, you know, negotiate and resolve. The fact that he's keeping it there is defiant and, you know, deliberate. So people say, well, it doesn't suit Manchester United, but you do have to look at the situation. And I always break it down like that and go, look, did I agree with the tweet? No. It's still there. So Jadon Sancho's position is you know, he will be monitoring social media. He may well be watching this show. I don't know. But the reality is he'll be monitoring social media and he'll be fully aware of the reaction and he'll be fully aware that keeping it up, you know, persists to stand by the statement. Now, some might say if he deletes it, it makes him look weak, but I don't think it does. I think it shows a willingness to deal with it. Lil says Steven Gerrard might save Sancho's career. Could this be what Jadon spoke about, where there are other factors in play? Look, I think that my observation on this is that removing Jadon Sancho from Manchester United must be done if that's what Erik ten Hag wants to happen. So if it's a possibility of moving him to Saudi Arabia, which I think is the only possibility, I think it's the only transfer window still open, then logically you would look at that. My reservation on this, and I've said it before, is Jadon Sancho to me clearly is a player that is a bit of a roller coaster on form and mentality. And there seems to be an England connection that triggers his moods, like, you know, in relation to his player mood, like we saw last year and we've seen it. It could be coincidence, but if you're in the Saudi League, you won't get picked for England. And people will say, well, Jordan Henderson does, but that's only because Southgate's in charge. Southgate doesn't even like Jadon Sancho as a player. He hardly ever picks him. So Jadon Sancho tearing it up in the Saudi League is not going to get him picked for England. However, if I'm Jadon Sancho, we're hearing that Southgate's leaving after the Euros. Is Jadon Sancho going to get in the England squad ahead of the Euros? No. No, he's not. Because he can't go to a Premier League club before January, by which time Southgate never picks him anyway. So there is something to be said for Jadon to go, you know what, Saudi Arabia, good money, get back to enjoying football, just go out there until May, come back, get a move somewhere, New England manager, we go again. So look, for his mindset, his mentality and his enjoyment, that might be a way out. But you balance that with a player that's like, I don't want to go and play in the Saudi league. It's an exhibition league. It's good money. I'm already on 350k a week, whatever it is at Man United. So why do I want to go there for money? I want to play football. But if you want to play football, Jaden, you're going to have to, resolve your issues at Man United because you can't go on loan anywhere else at the moment. So I wouldn't say it's completely beyond the realms of possibility. It would be a shock, of course it would. But would it be as big a shock as we've just explained there? This might logically be the best route for everybody. Now, what you would get from fans is, why are we loaning a player like Jadon Sancho out when we're not even settled in the attack? What if Anthony gets suspended? That would leave us with Garnacho, Rashford, Pellistri and Ahmad. It's quite inexperienced. But on the other hand, Mason Mount and Bruno Fernandes can play off the right. That might solve a problem how you get them all into the team. The January transfer window is not too far away. Qatari ownership might not be too far away, in which case money's not a problem for Man United anymore. So I think it's going to be an interesting few days. My personal feeling is that this will still end up with a papering of the cracks. Man United love to paper the cracks. We've seen many fallouts over the years, certainly in the Mourinho era, where you think Pogba can't, Pogba's never going to play for United again, and then he will. We saw it under Ollie with Pogba as well. We've seen problems with Martial. We've seen problems with Luke Shaw. We've seen all sorts of problems, and still the players stay, and United like to paper the cracks. So I still believe that there will be a way back for Sancho in the short term, although I think in the long term, the trust is gone between manager and player. If the trust is completely gone, and Ten Hag can't work with him, and Sancho doesn't want to work with him, and at the moment, we don't know the truth. It feels like Sancho's very, very angry with the manager, and it feels like Ten Hag is very let down by the player. That's not a healthy situation. So it might be that there is a breakaway. And anybody who says no, there won't be, look at the very recent history, and I'm not talking about De Gea, I'm talking about Ronaldo. A year ago, I was like, this, when the transfer window closed, I was like, Ronaldo will stay for the season. By November, he was gone. So just because the transfer window's gone doesn't mean that this won't resolve itself, and it could resolve itself with the Saudi exit. Some are professionals, others are just petulant. Van der Beek was sidelined constantly, but I never saw him on social media bollocking the manager. Poor attitude from Sancho, says Mike. Well, what are your comments and what are your thoughts? Let me just start a poll. Should Sancho go to Saudi on a loan? Yes or no? I'm going to answer that question. I think I actually look. It's very hard because you're sort of doing it blind. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But if Ten Hag and Sancho's relationship is broken, then I would be looking to go if I was Sancho, and I would probably go to Saudi because I think, you know what, you're not getting in the England squad. You're not going to be playing Premier League football until January anyway. Why don't you just go on a loan? Maybe go on a loan till January. Maybe go on a loan on a scene. Joseph says, why not a sale? Well, a sale would be great for Manchester United because I'm sure Saudi Arabia would give us probably 50 million for Jadon Sancho. The problem is, Jadon Sancho, much the same as West Ham and Maguire, Jadon Sancho's not going to be sold to Saudi Arabia and put himself there for the next 2 or 3 years. He will not want. I don't know. He might. That might be the best route for him, but I personally think he will want another shot at the Premier League. With another club. Now that's an interesting point. We all talk about he won't go to Saudi Arabia because he'll want to play in the Premier League and prove himself. Who's going to give him an opportunity? And Man United may well sit him down and say, look, Saudi, they're going to give you 700 grand a week and they're going to pay us 50 million quid. We will do that deal if you want to do it, Jadon. But what we will say is, yeah, you're on 350 grand a week at Man United, but you're not in the manager's plans. And we're not selling you cheap to give you an opportunity in the Premier League. So who else in Europe is going to come and knock on our door and give us £50 million in January or in the summer? Nobody is. So you've got 2 options, mate. You can either go to Saudi Arabia, double your wages, and we'll get the money and we'll sell you. Or you can wait a year, see if anybody wants to pay for you, which I don't think they will. Or you can say sorry, work really hard and make it work here. So I think the options and the ball is probably going to be in Jadon Sancho's court and Erik Ten Hag's. Louis van Gaal was speaking at a football gala the other day and he was asked by the media about Ten Hag. He said he did warn him and they speak regularly. Yeah, well, when Erik Ten Hag took the job, I heard about Van Gaal warning him and got very angry because I didn't want Ten Hag to be persuaded not to take the job. Because whilst I agree with Van Gaal and the warnings, we can't leave. It's our club. We can't go and support Arsenal or anything like that. We're Man United fans. So I wanted Ten Hag. And I was like, shut up, Van Gaal. Stop sticking the knife in and being moody. But the reality is, he is right. Of course he's right. Van Gaal knows the problems at Man United. We're very selfish. No, we still want him. But of course he's right. Sancho reeks of bipolar disorder, needs help. And hope United includes psych evals as part of medical. The mental part is just as important as the physical, says Ock. We can't loan him out. Sancho needs to suck it up and try harder, says Slow Sports News. I'm glad we have a manager that stands for no nonsense, and that's exactly what United need. And it's International Week, and Sancho is going on the loan. Sounds appealing. Let's do the poll again when we're another injury down mid-game in a few weeks, says Nick P. Well, 72% of you would loan him out. But you know what, Nick? You know, and I respect Nick. He does put quite a few super chats in, and that's not why I respect him. He makes a lot of sense. But the reality is, poor professionalism on both sides, says TJ, who's been a member for 15 months. Managers should be contentious comments out on players. Sancho shouldn't be making posts like that either. And Erik Ten Hag last season was compassionate in the handling of Sancho's absence, and in return, he puts that post out and shows the character. I'll come back to that in a moment, but what I did just want to say is that those people saying we can't loan Jadon Sancho because of injuries, the Saudi transfer window shuts at 10 p.m. tonight. So if this is going to happen, it has to happen today in relation to Jadon Sancho. So I just will say that. I don't think it will happen. But, you know, for those people who say we shouldn't do it because if we get another injury on the wing, we'll be saying we shouldn't have done it. You know, if you're mopping your kitchen floor and the mop in the cupboard, the spare mop, hasn't got a mop head on it, then it's not going to work. And it's all right saying, let's keep this player because it's an option if we get any injuries. But if it doesn't work, it's not an option. Jadon Sancho may well work at Dortmund, he may well work in Saudi, he may well work at another club, but is he going to work at Man United? And should a player like that be staying, or should we be keeping a player where it won't work anyway? What I mean is, if you've got Ahmad, and you've got Pellistri, and you've got Garnacho, and you've got Rashford, and you've got Mount who can play on the wing, surely you're better off going with that five who are motivated and part of the plans than removing one of those options or pushing them further down the list to have Jadon Sancho, who may not want to be here. It's not ideal, but hopefully at some point in the next few months, the club will be sold. And if it's sold, we can look at a winger that maybe Ten Hag does want. And of course, I'm not including Anthony in there. Anthony, we don't. If Anthony's there, if Anthony's there, you've got Rashford, Anthony, Garnacho, Ahmad, Pellistri, and Mason Mount and Bruno who can play on the wing. So you've got lots of options. It's not ideal, of course, but it's still lots of options. And it's worth just reminding people as well that in relation to Sancho's statement, which has been up there for 4 days, this is what he said. We don't want anything to be taken out of context. This was the direct quote. Please don't believe everything you read. I will not allow people to say things that is completely untrue. I have conducted myself in training very well this week. I believe there are other reasons for this matter that I won't go into. I've been a scapegoat for a long time, which isn't fair. Now, I've conducted myself in training very well this week. I believe there are other reasons for this matter that I won't go into. I've been a scapegoat for a long time, which isn't fair. That's completely directed at Erik Ten Hag. And if it's not aimed at Erik Ten Hag, then Jadon Sancho should delete that and put a different post out. He's left that there for 4 days. Why is it aimed at Erik Ten Hag? Because Erik Ten Hag publicly said he trained badly and that's why he wasn't in the team. Sancho's saying it's not true. I have trained well. There are other reasons. I'm a scapegoat. I mean, you know, people go on to say that he also says in there, I want to smile and contribute to the team. I respect the decisions of the coaching staff. I play with good players and I'm grateful for that. Yeah, the second half of it is respectful. It does respect the coach and everything and the decisions. But the bit that matters is where you say, I have trained well. There are other reasons why I'm not being picked. I'm a scapegoat. Well, that makes it about you versus Ten Hag, Jaden. And that post is still there. So what's the next step? If it's Saudi Arabia, then it needs to happen very quickly because the deadline's 10 o'clock tonight. I don't think it will be that. I think this is going to rumble on and we need some sort of resolvement to it. Mohammed says, I don't think JS25 should go. I think JS25 and Erik Ten Hag should resolve this because if he doesn't, we don't have a starter on the right wing because of A21. Pellistri isn't going to do much because of how many games we have and how competitive this season the Champions League is, says Mohammed. Mark, why are we not going to the youth team to fill some of the holes in the squad? Anything must be better than Maguire and Evans, says Diego. You seem a lot more confident about United being sold. Is there something you know, Marks, animator? And I think after the last few days, we are going to see Mount at right wing, says MBP. I've always been consistent about the sale. I have no update on the sale, but I said Man United announced in November that they were going to look at options to sell the club. I said the summer before that, I think United will be sold in the next 2 years. I had no inside information. It was based on an observation that Man United are in massive financial problems and there is massive spending required on that club, even if it's just on the infrastructure and the stadia. That hasn't changed. We are still desperately in need of expenditure on the club. The Glazers have never done that. They will not do that, and they don't have the money to do that. So something will happen. I'm absolutely convinced that it will happen. I'm absolutely convinced that the sale will still happen. I just think that I'm a bit confused as to why it's dragging on, but it will happen. And also, the more turmoil and crisis the club falls into, the more likely a sale will happen because it makes it it makes the cost bigger and bigger. He showed his selfishness and that he believes he's bigger than the club, says Boll. He should hold hands with the Glazers out of our club. The manager should always have the last say in the running of a squad, period, says Tushar. Doesn't matter if the player in question is Beckham or Sancho. Unfortunately, Sancho's statement has made his position at the club untenable. Loan him, says Tushar. I just wish he'd delete the statement. You've made it. We've all seen it. Take it down and show a bit of willingness to resolve it. 73% of you say Sancho should go on loan to Saudi Arabia. Well, we'll find out. What are the chances of it happening? I would say less than 20% because it closes at 10 o'clock tonight. Could United do something that quick? Yes, they could. Will they do something that quick? I don't think so. But you know what? It could make the next few hours quite interesting. Make sure you smash a like on the video and subscribe. Let's see what happens with it. Also, you might be very interested. I am managing the YouTube All-Stars on Saturday afternoon at the West Ham ground. We're playing the Sidemen in the Sidemen charity game. I have and was a little bit late for this show because I was completing my press conference duties as the manager. If you want to check it out, links in the live chat and it's on That's Football YouTube channel. Paul says it's time to extend Ten Hag's contract. Let everyone know he is and will be the boss and he runs the club. I love that, Paul. It would be a statement of intent. You're absolutely correct. Check out the press conference reaction from me on That's Football. Links in the live chat. We're back at 8 o'clock. And if anything happens before that around Jadon Sancho, we will obviously go live. Take care, everyone. I'll speak to you in a bit.